precious, but brilliant! The sweetest feeling for Rotherham United!
Woods got round the back, and Richard Wood has done it again! It's done! It's Georgie Kelly!
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk, the Rotherham United podcast. Thank you all for being with us as we look ahead to return to league action. It feels like ages since we played in the league. That Bradford game feels like such a long time ago. We'll look ahead to Northampton Town on Saturday, and we'll have a look back at, in the end, a good Tuesday night, but it's only in the end. And we'll find whatever else Rotherham United stuff we can find to fill an hour or so. Joy is back with us. How are you doing, Joy?
I'm not too bad, thank you.
Good to have you back with us. And Mick is back from his journey to the other side of the world. How is it going, Mick?
I don't know. What am I doing here? Where am I?
Okay.
I'm a little bit jet lagged, but
Okay.
yeah, I'm all right. All good, thank you.
Fair enough. Do you want to show off some of your Spanish swear words, or are you going to leave that till?
No, I'm
till
going to leave
later
that.
time?
I'm leaving that. Well and truly is that's left in Mexico, and it's staying there for when I go back.
Okay. We'll have you back. Probably not.
Possibly not. Can I just
Um,
say it wasn't me, by the way. I did not swear in Spanish while I was there.
That's a lie.
It was an equivalent.
Okay.
It was Miguel.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Nicholas Littlewood is with us as well. Terry from says, "Evening, everybody. Good to see how the subs changed the momentum on Tuesday night." Darren Cook's with us. Martin Holland's with us, but I'll come to your question in a minute, Martin. Kelly Poe's with us, as is Tom Swift. Cheryl Stone's evening. Oh wow, what that was a turn up. Chris Nichols says, "For the algorithm from Oz." RM of is hey up for the first time being live with us. Good to have you with us. There, we will have Danny joining us whenever his Wi-Fi allows him to join us, which could be Sunday. We'll see what happens there. We'll talk about Tuesday night first, Joy. I was on the Northampton podcast last night, and I said to them, with the Virtue Trophy, you've just got to take what you want to take from the game. If we'd have lost 2-0 on Tuesday, all of us would have been saying, well, most people would have been saying, it's Virtue Trophy, we had loads of changes, it don't really matter. But because you win, you then have to, your narrative has to change. If you're trying to build something, your narrative has to be, that's a really good turnaround, and a last-minute winner is good for anybody's morale. And Matt Hamshaw's, I think, has got to try and build that internally, build that positive story.
I agree, because at half-time, well, it was dire, wasn't it? It was worse than dire.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the worst 45 minutes of any game we've played, and that's saying some this season, isn't it?
Yeah.
But as it's already been pointed out, the subs did have an impact. So you've got to sort of tip your hat to the management team as sort of bringing the old stages on in a way. And they delivered. I mean, there were some good goals as well, weren't they? I mean, so like last 5 minutes, we still could have lost it, but and then gone to that penalty shootout rubbish that they have in the cup. But a win's a win, as they say. And, you know, hopefully the fact that it was a last-minute win would raise everybody's spirits going forward to Saturday.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you? You'd hope so.
Yeah.
It gives us a hell of a chance to qualify. Not that it massively matters, but it gives us a hell of a chance to qualify, because if you beat Manchester City, which the youth teams this year are taking an absolute pasting from most teams. I know these Man City beat Holden, but a lot of the youth teams are taking a spanking. So if you do beat Man City at home and you push through to the next round, that's just a different conversation. But we'll talk about. Harry said, I disagree on that point, Matt. I think, considering our circumstances, it almost became important to win, especially after that first half, for both player confidence and to take the pressure off Matt Hamshaw. How do you buy into that one, Danny? Because, again, this might be just me, and if it is just me, it is what it is, I think. But if we had lost that game 2-0 and we wouldn't have turned it around in the second half, I'd have been really annoyed. But I would have moved on by the Wednesday morning. It wouldn't have stayed with me. It wouldn't have put any more pressure on Matt Hamshaw. He made changes. It didn't work. kind of just move on. It wouldn't have bothered me particularly.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, but first of all, apologies for my slight tardiness this evening. I do apologise, but I agree with you, but I don't. If I'm being honest, Matt, I agree that the EFL trophy doesn't mean as much to us this season. Like, I suppose it means more when you're already a good team and you're doing well. You know, when we won it, we won it and promotion under Paul Warne, and then we got to the semi-final and just about scraped through against Hartlepool. But then it was just like, we want to get to the final, but you're not really that bothered because we're doing well in the league. But I think in a season like this one, it puts a bit more impetus on the game because not that we should be beating quote unquote teams like Oldham, you know, have just come up from the National League or in League Two, but to say we were in a slump and threw away the game against Bradford through poor defending. I think if we'd have done that again, it would have not put pressure on Matt Amshaw, but would have highlighted that we've not learned from the mistakes, if that makes sense. But the fact we did turn it round and we did win 3-2, which is the first time we've turned it round in a very long time. We didn't just concede again, roll over, show our bellies and show no fight whatsoever. I think the game becomes more important because it shows we do have that. Like, all right, yeah, fair enough. Say what you will, again, it's against a League Two team in a competition that actually doesn't matter that much to us at all. But it showed we do have that capability to change a game, to have that mentality, to push on and to fight back, rather than just conceding and just surrendering the game. So I think that makes it important, but the competition it's in isn't important. I'd much rather have done it in a league game, don't get me wrong, but the fact we've done it shows how important it is.
Fair enough. Yeah, Sean Oxbridge said second half saved a meltdown because of how bad we were. Rob Dix said, I got pelters when we said I should have taken the bottom game seriously in this competition, serious for momentum, but now all of a sudden it does matter. What's your take on it, Mick? Because again, if I'm wrong, but you just take what you want to take from these games. I don't know. What's your take on it?
Well, I mean, I didn't see the game, unfortunately, because I couldn't find... Unbelievably, there wasn't a dodgy stream of it anywhere. I mean,
not even in Mexico.
Such an important game, and I couldn't find a dodgy stream anywhere, and I weren't paying a tenner for it because it would probably cost me less to get in ground as it would to watch it on iFollow. So it's a reserve game, isn't it? Ultimately,
basically,
at this stage of the season, it's a reserve game, and I'm with what Kev said the other day. You know, if we get to semi-final, I'm interested, but in the meantime, it is about getting minutes into legs, and trying to get the plan implemented that he's trying to work. So it clearly didn't work in first half. It clearly did work in second half. So yeah, it is good. All the positives that you've mentioned, I think we can take from it. Had we lost, it would have just made the shouty people more shouty, wouldn't it? You know, the rest of us, like you say, I think I tend to agree with you. By Wednesday morning, I'd have probably been over it to a degree. But you know, poor performance is a poor performance in it, and it is the performances that we're interested in. So yeah, we take the positives, which are we've come back from 2-0 down, admittedly against dog and duck, apparently. So I'm told. But that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant in this case. So I've said absolutely nothing there of any interest to anybody. But
he's back. He's back, isn't he? Eh?
Well, now it's a reserve game. We won it when we came from 2-0 down. That has to be a good thing, whichever way you look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I think Oldham are a reasonable team. Like they have only just come up, but I don't know. Who cares? Let's just move on. So were Bradford, yeah.
Well, so have Bradford, and they were top of the league. I don't know whether they still are or not, but they were top of the league. So you know, the fact that you've just come up into the Football League is irrelevant. And anybody that knows anything about football, who's followed it for any length of time, knows that the difference between League Two and League One is small. It's very small. So certainly top end of League Two, and bottom end of League One, which is where we are at the moment, where we sit, there's not a lot. Get a fact paper between them.
Yeah, I agree. Do we put praise on Matt Hamshaw, Joy, for changing it or should there be question marks on Matt Hamshaw for the starting line with the 2 or 3 youngsters? I think, 2 youngsters particularly that struggle.
We've just discussed that it's a competition for those on the outskirts of the team, if that makes sense. So you would expect him to pick some of the younger members of the squad to participate in it. That's what this competition is generally used for, and it didn't work out, did it? I mean, it was quite, like I said, possibly the worst half of football Rotherham have turned in. Well, since the last half of football that they turned in, and that's the thing, isn't it? We only deal in half a game. Virtually every match, it's half a game's performance, and if we're behind the 8 ball and too far back, then we never come back in it. Or when we're ahead, like against Bradford, we throw it away. So we need more composure, and we need to do a full 95 minutes. So we just can't do a 95-minute stint. But like you say, you've got to give him credit for realising that they weren't getting anything out of the team that was on the pitch in the first half, and for putting the subs on that did have an impact, and it did change the game. I'm not saying it was significantly better or brighter, but a win's a win. And we've not had a lot of those, and we've got to grab them with both hands. I mean, hopefully, then the guys left the stadium on Tuesday, got a little bit of a spring in the step and thinking, which sets them up for Saturday, like I said earlier. But it's Rotherham, so 3-0 at half time at Northampton, who knows?
Yeah, and I know it's 91st minute winner, Danny, and I know it's easy to say this, but as soon as the goal went in, the players were all over the bench. It was instantly. So if there's any question marks about what the players think about Hamshaw, what Hamshaw thinks of the players, vice versa, and if they're together as a group, it got poo-pooed in the virtual trophy game because instantly it was a massive feeling of togetherness for the players from what we were able to see other side at stand. But it was instantly obvious. And again, it's only the virtual trophy. For me, that was one of the most telling things of the night. How together it looks like they actually are. When it would be very easy, bearing in mind the run we've had, to be fractures and split. That they seem really close knit group, which should pay dividends.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you've just said there, it'd be far easier to form their own little groups of supporting the manager, not supporting the manager. We should be doing this, should be doing that. But the fact they are together, and effectively all football fans, as all football players should be. Everybody loves a 91st minute winner, but if they're all supporting each other and there's no one person on their own, like not celebrating or going mad whilst everybody else is still a bit downtrodden, that goes to show that Matt Hamshaw still has the backing of the dressing room, which is very, very important for a manager. I think the previous manager lost the dressing room very quickly. But Matt Hamshaw's... What's that, sorry?
Day one, he lost dressing room with Nombe criticism.
Maybe not day one, match day one potentially, but but no, if the players are backing Matt Hamshaw and they do buy into what he's trying to do, I think we all have reservations at times because it's just frustrating seeing the club that we love in this position where it is a rebuilding season and we have to fight through that after having so many years of success, of promotions and a cup win and very, very nearly establishing ourselves in the Championship. To be where we are now, yeah, it is frustrating, but Matt Hamshaw's got a group of players that back him, and it's in certain circles it's spreading now to the fans that they back him and we want to see more from it. But Matt Hamshaw's been trying to start a fire, and whilst he's been doing that, his matches have started breaking because they've been in the treatment room. And with some players, he's got wet kindling. So he's doing well for what he's got. But at the same time, I think we all want to see that bit more, which I'm sure will come. We just have to be, I say this every week, patient and persistent with it.
Yeah, I agree. Nice reception between fans. Obviously, there were smattering of boos at half time. Only 1,300 people there, I think, in the end. But it's fair to say Matt Amshaw gave the fans and vice versa a good reception at the end, as you'd expect with the late victory. Tom Swift adds Sheriff ran straight to Matt Amshaw when he scored against Bradford. Yeah, absolutely noticed that as well. There clearly is this togetherness in the squad, Mick, and it's not everything, because you can be together and finish bottom. I remember all season Matt Taylor, Liam Bridge and Steve Evans telling us how good a group of players, that championship group of players were. Well, they finished rock bottom and almost a record number of points, but it's a start point, and hopefully the fact you've come from 2-0 down is something that will bring the group a little bit closer, hopefully.
I mean, I'm surprised with 1,300 there. I didn't realise that. I got a lot of my information off Twitter, which is a mistake. I accept. You know, my fault. Because I was led to believe it was the lowest ever attendance at New York Stadium. Clearly not by any stretch.
Lowest, I think.
Say again.
I think. What do you know? Record lowest at New York, Danny? It's about 1,200, isn't it?
No, it's close to 1,000. Funnily enough, I think it's a game against Morecambe. It could have been. Did we play?
Somebody at comment will tell us.
Yeah, I think it was last season, and it was only just over 1,000.
Yeah, but go on, Mick. Sorry.
Well, there you go. And I would have thought having players behind. I don't like your little digs at previous manager there, by the way. I think that's unfair and out of order, and I think you should stop that straight away. You'll not catch me doing that. This is what you need. I mean, who knew? You know, who knew that if you had a set of players that were behind the manager and a manager that were behind your players, that you might start to get some results eventually, and you will. We will start to get the results, and we will pull away from where we are. You look at the performance against Bradford, and it was excellent, pretty much for the 90 minutes. There were a couple of mistakes, obviously, that led to their goals, but nevertheless, overall, it was an excellent performance. Second half on Tuesday night, you know, coming back from 2-0 down, it was an excellent result. I don't know about the performance; I can't comment on that, but it's something that I was really pleased when you told me about that one, when I heard about the reaction to the winning goal, and getting everybody being involved in that, including the bench. It's important for me. It's hugely important. I know a lot of people will disagree, or some people will disagree. You know, some people like the master-servant type relationship between players and management. I don't. You know, it's a team. They are all a team, and if they work together, they're going to be a lot stronger. So it's great. I'm all for it. Absolutely all for it. I think and it bodes well for the future. Just picking up on something that Danny just said as well about, you know, we say every week we need to be patient. That's the definition of patience.
Yeah.
You know, it's the definition of it. You can't be patient one week and then expect a result the next. Well, you can if you want, but you're going to be disappointed. That's life, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's a lot of positives.
Yeah. Yes, there are.
Well, to balance it, sorry, Matt. To balance it, there are some negatives as well.
Oh God, yeah.
No, I'm not saying that everything's rosy in the garden, because it ain't by any stretch. But there are positives coming out of it now. And we're what are we? 12 games into the season. I don't know. How far are we in now?
10 plus 14, I think. So 10 plus 4 cup games, I think.
Yeah, and we were at 35 games last season, and we still weren't seeing any positives. So up yours.
Ooh.
Anybody wants to argue with it, you know? The point I'm trying to make is that we can see where we're going, we can see what the manager's trying to do, and we can start. Most of us can see that there are some positives coming out of it, and some positive performances and some good performances, team performances. We haven't had that for 2 or 3 seasons now.
Yeah, I agree. RMOF. I don't know. RMOF. I went and I was happy and enjoyed it. I enjoyed a lot of the second half. That's the best criteria I can judge it by. That's a really good criteria to judge it by, to be honest with you, mate. I'm in the same boat. The fact that they scored after 45 seconds without touching the ball, bearing in mind they won a throw-in in that time, which was bizarre. It's good. But the couple of goals, Joy, they're all really good goals in their own separate way. The Keane Spencer's just a stunning strike. Obviously, we'll touch on Reece James in a minute, but even the own goal, it's lucky, but it was an early cross. It's an early cross into the box, which put their player off balance, which benefited us. I'm not saying Joe Raff is meant to get us an own goal, but it's something we haven't been doing very often with. It was Dale Tong mentioned after about the basics of football. And that's one of the things we've been begging for. Early cross into the box, defender makes a mistake, and we're level game. There's so many positives from those 3 goals.
I agree. I thought they were all excellent goals. And Dale Tong's right. You don't buy a ticket, you don't win a prize. And that's the issue, isn't it? It's not that we've got bad strikers. It's just that they don't get any decent service, or haven't up to this point received decent service in order to be strikers. I mean, Nombe at the start made a lot of the goals himself, but I mean, that first goal he scored against Port Vale, that was a cracking cross by Rafferty, wasn't it, if you remember? So, and it's about getting those wide players that Hampshire wants to play, getting the quality of those balls into the box for those strikers to do their business, or defenders to score own goals with. It doesn't really matter. But another thing is, I mean, like we've said, it's only 10 games in, and theoretically you could multiply it by 4 and we get where we are at the end of the season. But if I remember this time last year, Tom and I went to Leyton Orient, and they were in the bottom 3 at that time. Look where they ended up once they cracked it. So it's not, I'm not saying that we're going to follow suit, but it's still early doors in the season. It's still, and we've not had a full settled team yet.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking of Leyton Orient. We're obviously play them next week, and I was thinking about the exact situation. We'll speak to them next week with the scouting report, and that's something I'll ask them about, because obviously the turnaround was, how many examples have there been of those teams that have been rubbish to start with and then either got promoted through playoffs or whatever? Barnsley, Sheffield United, I'm sure. Donny as well, getting in playoffs a few years ago in League Two. There's so many examples of it, which we've just bored you. I was going to say we don't need to bore you with, but I just have. So sorry about that. Yeah, we'll touch on later on next week. Harry rightly mentions that Leyton Orient's manager might well be off to the managerial graveyard that is Luton Town at the minute. Harry says, can we mention Jack Holmes, man of the match? Somebody else mentioned him as well. It was Tom Swift again. Thank you very much, Tom. Yeah, Jack Holmes was very, very good. I don't think he's going to start. I don't think it kind of matters for his Rotherham career, but hopefully for himself. Jack Holmes needs to go out and load. He needs to do what Kieran McGugan's doing and go and play some games, hopefully at a reasonable level. Reece James scored, Danny, with his right foot. I think Reece James said he didn't realise how well he could hit the ball with his right foot. But Reece James coming for a lot of criticism from us, to be honest, more us than anyone else, certainly defensively. But he had the assist on Thursday night for Sheriff's goal, for the second goal, and obviously got this goal last week. He can be a really, really useful player. But again, Matt Hampshire needs to work out how to use him in the right way, which I think he's still kind of working out.
Yeah, I think he is as well. Before we touch on Reece James, I have found the lowest attendance at New York Stadium. It was the knockout stages of the EFL Trophy last season. We played Tranmere at home, beat them 3-2. The attendance was 1,093.
Cold and all that, from what I remember.
Yeah.
Cam Dawson had a stinker.
Yeah, so not quite the lowest against Oldham, but still quite low. But anyway, yeah. Reece James has sort of come into form over the last couple of games, hasn't he? Maybe it's sort of clicked and he knows what his role is. Maybe they've redefined it. Maybe he's trying something a bit different and it's working. But, you know, again, patience, and it's paid off. He's had a good game against Bradford. He's had another good game and scored against Oldham. Maybe that's what we need. Just excuse me. Maybe I was wrong to criticise Matt Hampshire, saying we have to keep playing players until they play into form. Because it's worked with Reece James now. We've got Sheriff back, and I don't really think he's dropped form. He's just been injured. But we are seeing a lot more out of players that have come into criticism. Like, all right, fair enough. Cam Dawson has come in for criticism as well, but he had a very good game against Bradford. Dropped off a little bit against Oldham, but you could argue the defence is also to play the part in that. But we're seeing a lot out of players that we have given criticism to, and I'm very happy that it's starting to prove everybody wrong, because that's what we want. We want the best out of these teams. Reece James is a prime example of that over the last couple of matches, and long may it continue. Hopefully he bags a couple more, maybe a couple in the league, maybe he scores against Leyton Orient, who knows. But just don't drop off. Don't get complacent with it. Just keep building on it, and Reece James can find his form and can be a real player for us, as we've said time and time again. But when you're playing, having a bit of a stink, you shoulder the criticism and you want wrong, and thankfully he's doing that.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move on to Northampton game on the same thing what I've been talking about, Mick, but two players that are not going to be with us on Saturday. One of them is Lenny. He got called up to the under-21s. They've played Gibraltar tonight, and I don't know what the final score is, but there was 7-0 up at half-time. And Lenny wasn't even in the squad to play the game. And that's... I don't know if they've got a second game, but this is a really, for me, from Lenny's perspective and his short-term development, it's really important he plays a game quickly after that Bradford game. The worst thing that can happen for Lenny is have 2 weeks without a game, well, more than 2 weeks because it was a Thursday, so more than 2 weeks without a game. He needs to go and play and get out of his system. If they've called him up and not played him, that's going to be really disappointing for me. Really disappointing.
Yeah, it is hugely disappointing. He made a mistake against Bradford. And he did, and he knows that. Nobody else needs to tell him. It's frustrating when you get players in our position, when you get important players called up and then they don't even get a game. And this is not the senior squad, is it? This is the under-21 squad, so it's not like he's getting any massive amount of experience being in and around an international squad. It's an under-21 game against Gibraltar. What's the point? If they're not going to play him, release him, send him back. Yeah. Why would you? Well, it's international football, isn't it? But it's great for him, to get the call up and everything else. It's fantastic, and I'm hoping that it's not going to affect his confidence too much. I don't think it will. I don't know. I've got no basis for that, but I just feel that he seems to be the type of lad who will get over it and he'll get back on bike. Whenever the chance arises. So, but yeah, it's disappointing to be without him, and it's also disappointing that he's not playing. I can't see that they've got any many better than him in the under-21 squad for Scotland. No, I don't mean I'm not being too sort of bitchy about that, but they're not exactly the best international side, are they, by any stretch? So
no,
Anyway, it's done. There's not a lot we can do about it. And Martha may not play for Curaçao. He didn't play last time, did he? I don't think.
He played the first game briefly, very briefly.
Right, yeah. So, again, it's 2 weeks without competitive football for these lads, which, again, doesn't help.
No.
But
it's even worse for Martha because he plays the Curaçao's second game is at Wednesday at midnight. Next Wednesday at midnight. So he's going to finish playing at 2 o'clock in the morning English time.
Yeah.
Which means he's probably not going to be back till the Friday, which means he definitely won't be playing or definitely won't be starting against Leyton Orient.
No.
So we're missing him for almost 2 games, which is a shame. Having said that, we should have that Curaçao in with a decent chance of qualifying for the World Cup. So he can't be good on that one a little.
Absolutely not. No.
We'll let him off. Scott Kent plays again Tuesday. If he doesn't play that game, the club should go mental.
Absolutely,
I agree. Although we may be criticising under-21s wrongly here, we might have asked him not to play 2 games in 5 days, whatever it is. He is coming back from injury.
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know. We'll find out on Tuesday. If he starts Tuesday, then I think that's probably maybe what it is. But
fair point.
It remains to be seen. How much of a miss? We'll stick with anything for the minute, Joy. How much of a miss is Lenny at the minute? Bearing in mind our defensive frailties, lack of numbers, whatever you want to call it. I know he had he made a mistake or two against Bradford, but it's so short on numbers. It feels like a massive blow.
Yeah, I mean, it's a miss because people like Jules aren't stepping up for a start. Yeah. We've still got a full sick bed list in defenders as well. Mm-hmm. So it is a massive miss, even if he has a few errors in his game. But is 19, 20, is he?
20 now, I think, yeah.
Yeah. He's going to have ricks in his game. He's learning. He's doing his apprenticeship with us, I would argue. And I've seen some really good stuff from him. It doesn't shy away, does he, no. in the role? So And I can say I've seen more positivity from him in terms of defending than I have from a elder professional in Jules, for example. So, yes, we are going to miss him this weekend.
Yeah, I thought Jules was particularly poor on Tuesday night, to be honest, especially the first time. He needs to step up, Jules. I didn't mention this last show. I saw Zach Jules in Meadow Hall last week with his missus. And you'll not believe that another one of Rotherham's players is going to have missus is pregnant. I assume it's his missus. But she was quite pregnant on Saturday, last week. So there's a chance of another Rotherham player missing another game because of childbirth.
There must have been some dark times 9 months ago, because I reckon that's at least 5 that have become new dads within the last month or so.
Yeah.
That was the good times when we were doing okay in January.
Actually, were.
I'm trying to work out why it'd be dark times, Danny, but let's not get into that because it's a subject that we don't really want to cover.
No.
Rob Dick says 2 young lads living their international dreams, stop whinging and move on.
Good point.
We've currently got our Rotherham United hats on. We're being selfish. That's where we are. Harry says, have we ever had a current player play in a World Cup? I don't think we've had a current player play in a major tournament. Even in the European Championships, I don't think it's ever happened. So
there must have been some Welsh players back when they were actually good. Because
we did, didn't we?
Really? I thought we had some Welsh internationals back, like, I'm talking way, way back, like the 50s and the 60s.
Didn't Arnie play for Iceland when he played for us?
Not while he played for us, he'd left.
Did he? All right.
He qualified for the 2016 Euros. Is the first tournament they qualified for. I met with the summer before. He left in 15. He left there.
He was playing for us when he went qualifiers.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Curaçao, just for anybody interested, they've got to finish top. They've got to beat Jamaica to qualify for the tournament, but they will get the playoffs if they finish second. That's an intercontinental playoffs, which will be in March. So Martha might be used quite a lot over the next 3 international breaks. And we'd all be buzzing if it makes it to a major tournament. We'll see what happens. How much was Martha, Danny? Because Martha was really, really good against Bradford. Easily his best game for the club as an attacking 10, basically. It's maybe softened the blow by Benson probably not being injured for this week, as that softens it a little bit.
Yeah. But no, Martha had an absolutely unreal game against Bradford. He was so tricky to deal with. He didn't know how to handle him effectively. So you could argue that's a big miss, because we've kind of lost his ability in that regard, and we've just sort of discovered that we can actually play him as like the second striker or slightly in behind the strikers, and he does really, really well at driving the ball forward. So yeah, that's going to be a loss, but I suppose Benson being potentially in with a shout of the Northampton game, like I said, does soften it a little bit, because he did that the last time he turned out for us. But I think because Martha's like quite slim and small, he sort of just slips between you and just somehow dances past you like he did against Bradford a few times. So it's a miss in that regard, but at the same time, we do have another player that can do that position who is coming back from injury. But I'm so happy we're not playing Martha on the left wing back position anymore, because it was so not out of his depth. That's a bit too harsh, but he's certainly more adapted to playing in behind the strikers. So I'm glad we've now got the depth where he can do that. And as he showed against Bradford, he's a real asset in that position. Yeah,
we need him in a place. If you want to play him wing back, that's fine. I think he can do it eventually, but he's naturally a player that needs freedom. To be fair, Chio was when he came. Look at the player Chio developed into being. So I think Martha can do that. It's just right now is his best position. Is not there. Tom Swift says Emi Martinez did play for Argentina, but I don't think he played while he was with us. Stephen Adams says Keith Pring played for Wales. He did, but according to Wikipedia, his 3 caps were between 65 and 67, and I don't think Wales qualified for the World Cup in 66.
Could you swing it that the British Home Championships were a major tournament back in those days? Or
absolutely not. So if anybody's got any other ones, let us know, because it will be nice to have one, but the first one will be quite big. Bear in mind how expanded the tournaments are nowadays. It will be a matter of time before we get one. But we'll see. Aramov says, do we want to risk Benson, though? Legs made of turkey twistlers. Let's face it, we need him. Yeah, that's the problem, because other than Martha didn't play. Josh Benson was my man of the match from Thursday last week. He was so good. He also did bits that kind of go under the radar a bit. It was just a link that we've been crying out for. He plays, if he's fit enough to play an hour, 70 minutes, he has to start on Saturday to try and give us something to create anything. I think he's going to be massive for it.
He's a hell of a player, isn't he?
Yeah.
Hell of a player. And he's another one of those that I did not been for his injuries. I don't think he'd be anywhere near Rotherham United. So hopefully we can keep him fit. And Keane Spence, I think I like the look of them two together. They came on, I can't remember which game it was. They played a short time together in second half of one of the games recently. And they look really good together. So, yeah, if he's back up, that'd be great. And just bring Spence in for Martha. That would be my view, because I think they both look very, very promising players. Obviously, Benson more so because of his experience, and but Spence I like the look of as well. So it's been said on one of Paul Davies' articles. I think Matt Amshaw said he's quite happy with the midfield at the moment. The way that the competition for places is hotting up, and I like it. I like the midfield a lot, and yes, Martha's not available, but I think we've got some players that could probably step in and not do the same job, but certainly do an effective job without a doubt.
Yeah, I agree. Caleb was asking Dave Watson, played for England about 4 years after he left us. Bobby Mims shows to ask, didn't play for England seniors, we played for the under-21s. Tom Swift said, I wouldn't risk Benson or Nombe this weekend. Where do you sit on that? We'll come on to Nombe in a minute, Joy, because that's a slightly different topic. But how close would you be to Benson and Spence? Spence, I don't think Spence was great on Tuesday night. The goal's fantastic. But I don't think he did anything else other than that. I think he really struggled to impact the game, whereas Benson was really obvious in terms of impact against a much better team the prior Thursday. Where do you sit on risking Benson, I suppose?
It's not my decision, thankfully. But from what I'm hearing coming out of the club is that they feel that he's fit and ready to start on Saturday, because wasn't it just an impact? And given the fact that, yes, it's above a week since we last played, so he's had that playing Thursday meant that we've had that extra couple of days to recover. So perhaps that's been positive in this case for Benson. If he's fit, play him. Yeah,
I agree. Completely agree. You can play four midfield. You can play one striker and play him behind, probably a Tete or Sheriff like we've done previously. The other one to talk about is Sam Nombe, Danny. This is the one we've been waiting for, which never ends well when they come back, to be honest. Never, ever ends well. But Sam Nombe, by the sounds of it, has trained all week. When asked by Radio Sheffield if Sam Nombe will be available or whether he thinks he would risk him, he simply said, watch this space. I said in the group chat earlier that if Sam Nombe can play 10 minutes for you, you take Sam Nombe and you play him for 10 minutes. Where do you sit on it? But then that's a big risk, because it's a big injury. Any hamstring injury is a big injury. It's a big... If he pops it again on Saturday afternoon, I'm sure never enter it.
Yeah, exactly. I think it is good if he does travel with the team, and it'll be even better if he does get into the match day 18. Because I'm sure sort of wielded a little bit of psychological warfare, didn't he? That if he's on the bench, it'll unsettle Northampton, which I don't know how true that is. But I don't know, maybe it's a bit extra prep that if he does come on, they'll have to try and alter something, how they play, a substitute, whatever. So it might unnerve him in that regard, but that's why you have team meetings and planning meetings and all sorts before you face anybody in football these days, so you are ready for it. But I think it'll do Nombe more goods just to travel and be in the match day 18 than anything else, because it shows he's back in the team and ready to be in the fold. Maybe an appearance at Northampton will be too soon for him because it is a big injury that he's coming back from. But like I say, if he's trained all week and he's doing all right and his hamstring feels strong and flexible and all sorts, then we might see a cameo from him. I don't think he'll start. Good Lord, no. But we might see him last 10 minutes, like you say, maybe. But if we don't see him, we also understand why. But he also has that week break until we play Leyton Orient as well. So maybe if he travels, so it does his confidence and psyche a load of goods, and we see him more fit at Leyton Orient. But also, I'm not opposed to seeing him for 10 minutes against Northampton. That'll be a great return, won't it? Him coming back after being injured for the majority of the season so far. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, we do see him for 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, and because when you have something like that, Mick, it's that Georgie Kelly effect that even if he comes on for 5 minutes at the end of the game, if it's a close game, the entire crowd will lift, which in turn will lift the players, which in turn hopefully should bring you some positivity. If you can just bring that positive energy at the right time, but again, it's we don't know how fit he is, but again, if you don't want to bring Nombe back for 10 minutes. And it might not be a Sandro, could be another injury, but it's going to be a calculated risk from that, I'm sure.
Of course it is.
Cool. Moving on.
Well, it is, isn't it? I mean, if he's fit, he'll play. If he's fit enough to play, he'll play for 90 if he's fit enough. I can't see it. I can't see him because he's not going to be match fit. But they're not going to risk him. They're not going to risk popping his hamstring again just because for no reason whatsoever, He's been training all week, and if he's been training at full pelt all week, if we're going to pop it, we're going to pop. So I'm sure we'll do what he feels is best, being guided by the medical team. It will be a lift. It will be a lift to get him back on the pitch, whether that be for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is. We'll have to see how the game goes. I can't see him starting. No. Simply through match fitness rather than anything else, but it will be a big lift and a big boost for us because we do need somebody up front who can put the ball in back at net. I mean, that sounds so obvious, it's ridiculous, but we've got Sharif who quite clearly can. I think we compared him a couple of weeks ago to Georgie Kelly in terms of his goals per minute ratio. He can carry that on and not get injured like Georgie did all the time. He's going to be a hell of a signing for the season. So, and with Sam Nombe next to him, it could be a quite prolific duo that. But we'll see. I'm sure we'll do the right thing. I'm sure he will. And if he's fit enough, he'll play for some or all of the game.
I'm super excited to see Nombe and Sheriff play together. I really can't wait to see how they link up. And maybe Martha in the front three as well. It is shaping up that if they can get that relationship, something really exciting to build on there. Assuming they stay fit. Arnav says when they brought Nombe over the Chesterfield game last year, fans were mental. Yeah, absolutely. He's just that personality at the minute, hasn't he? Something we talked about in the last few weeks, Joy, is a lack of creative edge. We haven't been creating anything, so when Nombe comes back, who cares? Because nobody's going to create anything for him. We've scored 5 goals in the last 2 games. And other than the own goal, which I still think deserves credit, there's 5 really good goals, 5 really different goals as well. Does that calm any fears you had about creativity, or should we just kind of calm down and say it's only 2 games, one of them's against League 2? Where do you sit on that being a positive?
Well, you've got to be positive, I think. Otherwise, what's the point in turning up either as a fan or as a team to a match? Brutally honest. I mean, we always say
controversial.
It's the hope that kills you, isn't it? It always is the hope that kills you. So, 5 goals. That's not a bad return in recent games. I think we're starting to click. I think the players are probably getting into the mindset of the management team, hopefully, and getting to grips with the way that they want to play. It's just that we still have a few square pegs and round holes jobbies going on. But as people start throwing away the crutches, then hopefully all this is going to sort of prove to be more positive going forward. I mean, Rafferty's got a lovely cross on him, hasn't he? I mean, we've talked about a couple of goals, the one to Nombe, the one last week to Sheriff. No, that was James, wasn't it? But and James coming into a bit of form as well. You know that Hampshire wants to play with wings or wing backs. The thing is, I didn't even think he anticipated it being James and Rafferty, to be honest. But they're the ones that have been providing. With Benson coming back, we've seen a spark in him as well after a few non-shows when he's been playing in a match. So they've been together for 10 games. They've been together now since August. So perhaps a penny is finally dropping on the system that Hampshire and the management team want these guys to play. And as people, like I say, get out of that sick room and back on the training ground, hopefully things will be on an upward trajectory going forward.
Yeah, we'll all have a slice of humble pie to eat if this formation pays off, like it might be doing. And I will be. I said this to the Northampton podcast yesterday about last season. I said I would have been buzzing if we'd have all been wrong about Steve Evans and everything last year. We'd have all been buzzing. Same this year. I'm sure most people will be very happy to eat humble pie about a 3-5-2. The struggles of the 3-5-2 so far this season it'd be great to do so, but that's going to take time. Terry Fenwick says consistency is the only way to get them forming partnerships, which is correct as well. Kelly was asked about Tom Holmes. Now, I don't know if it was Matt Hampshire or a Paul Davis article. I saw somewhere, this might be somebody on Twitter being in the know. I saw December, which would be a concern because that'd be 3 months. He got injured on 6th of September. If he's back in December, that's a 3-month injury when we're told 8 weeks originally. So that'd be a real worry that it's basically an extra month on top of where it is. So hopefully that's not the case, but we'll see on that one.
Couple that with Luton not having a manager now, then they might not come back. New manager.
True. But the good thing about this is he can't play now to impress the new manager. So by the time he actually starts playing well, it'll be mid-January, and it'd be probably too late to call him back. So maybe this is a long-term plan. Don't know. It's a cunning plan that we've not worked. Aaron says not spoke about it yet, but Yearwood was invisible for a lot of the game, but then looked amazing for the last 20 minutes or so. Drew Yearwood then is one of those players that I've been asking for quite a long time. I was a little bit disappointed with him on Tuesday night, and I agree he had a good end to the game. But he's got to do a bit more to earn himself that start. Sean McWilliams has been doing very, very well. Powell was better against Bradford. Dan Gore's been excellent. And also Josh Benson's come in and hit the ground running in terms of when he's been fit and available. Drew Yearwood hasn't been given the minutes, but I still want to see a little bit more. I'm a big fan of his, but if he's going to force his way in, he's got to do a little bit more in these kind of middle games.
Yeah, maybe that's why we've not seen him too much in the league, because obviously Hampshire's seen more of him in training. And yeah, like I say, he just seems like a very slow burner coming into the games. Like when he's good, he's great, but you have to get him to that point in a game. And yeah, like the comment says, we only really saw the best of him for 20 minutes or so against Oldham. So maybe that's why he's been kept away, and maybe because there's just more midfielders in front of him at this moment in time. But I mean, we said on the podcast a few weeks ago, if we're playing Powell before Yearwood, that goes to show where Yearwood is, if that makes sense. And even with Powell, he's starting to come good as well. He's been a lot better as well. So maybe Yearwood just can drop by the wayside, which is a shame because we like the look of him in pre-season and early on in the season. But now it's just a bit. Just need a little bit more, tighten his belt a little bit more, and we might see him a little bit. But also at the same time, he sort of plays a similar way to Kelly, where he's sort of like a little bit deeper midfielder, and we're sort of playing more forward midfielders. So that could be another reason as well. So we'll just have to wait and see with Yearwood. But I think it is in his own hands to get himself back into the starting 11. And I'm sure Matt Hampshire said early doors in the season, you have to play your way into the starting 11. You're not just no one's position safe. You have to play your way into it. Yeah. And just let's see more of him. Let's see more of him in training. and we'll see more of him on the football pitch. But as for right now, he's just a bit, You know what I mean? That is Yearwood at the minute. It's just which is a shame because on his day he's a good player. Just he needs to get out of his phrase.
He does, yeah. Tom Swift says Raggett's a couple of weeks away. Couple of weeks away from his next injury, obviously.
You horrible sod.
We'll see. We'll see what happens with that one. And on to Northampton a little bit. So you want a bit more on Northampton? I spoke to Danny from It's All Cobblers to Me, and they are having a decent season. Tom Swift says Northampton have conceded 8 goals so far this season. We'll need to do something to beat that balance. They've got, I think it's 7 clean sheets in the last 8 games. Is where they're at. I think they didn't win the first 4 games, and now their defense is spectacular, Mick. So that then becomes, what do you do? Because it becomes an interesting thing to look for because nobody's expecting a classic anyway because it's Rotherham United. But you come up against a team that I suspect is a very, very different Northampton team that we beat at their place in Amcho's first game because they didn't look tight. They looked a bit of a mess from set pieces. But they are missing a couple of players. They're missing a striker and I think a defender because you used international duties. So they're going to be hurting in a similar way that we were in terms of the internationals as well.
Yeah, but they're in League One, so they're not. It's not like we're facing a top defence. They've done well so far this season. You know, let's for the sake of argument say we're in 10 goals, 10 games in. You know that having only conceded 8 goals, they're not going to be. They're not only going to concede 32 all season, are they? You know, things are going to change. So we need to stick to our plan, and like you said, we scored 5 and 2. We're more than capable of scoring the goals without strikers who are capable of it at the moment, with the exception of Sharif. So. But we play our own game. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. We're away from home, so we won't be fine. I don't know why I said that.
We'll score and then we'll lose.
Yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. It's starting to come. Slowly but surely, it's starting to come. I sound positive again. I'm sorry. So sorry.
How dare you be positive? Tom Eves is injured. No worries about Tom Eves. Tom Eves had to be incoming. Sadly, for Tom Eves, Scott. Tom Eves is not available. They have one fit striker. Who is not necessarily a goal scorer. Again, you'll hear from, if you watch the scouting report, they'll tell you their availability. But Tom Eves is not available. That's why we didn't talk about him, because I knew he wasn't available. That's why I didn't ask. I'm going to have to ask about who they've played. They kept clean sheets to Exeter, Leyton Orient, Blackpool, Chelsea's under-21s, Bolton, Port Vale, and Walsall in the Virtue Trophy as well. So some good teams, some not so good teams in there as well. So. But you can only not concede to the teams that are in front of you, can't you? So we'll see that. A couple of bits to talk about. The Rotherham United Community Sports Trust are currently in the process of doing a 100-mile walk to Northampton. I bet they were so happy when this game didn't get called off last week, when we all thought this game was going to be called off because of the internationals. They would have been walking to Northampton for nothing, which would have been no fun. But they're on their way. Which is a great idea. It's a great work. We all know the great work that those guys do, along with other community sports trusts as well. So I assume you're not watching, but if you are, well done. And I'm sure you'll get a hero's reception down at Six Fields or whatever they call it nowadays, because that's a long way. That's a long way to go, walking. We'll get Mick to walk to a game at some point.
Only if they play in the front garden.
Right, Ref Watch. Stick with me on this one. So the referee is Paul Tierney. Thank you, Harry. Thank you very much, Harry. Great minds. Who is the ref? Right. The referee is Paul Tierney. That name will ring a bell because he was a Premier League referee. He hasn't refereed a Premier League game for 2 seasons and was involved in a VAR controversy between Liverpool and Man U at the end of last season. So I think he'd gone from being a full-time ref to a full-time VAR referee. And this season, he's back to doing full-time refereeing, but starting in League 1 and 2.
Oh, God.
Now, I may have got some of that wrong, but that's what I've pieced together. As you might expect, referees don't get full profiles on wherever, or 4-4-2, whatever the case may be. But that's kind of where I pieced it all together. So that doesn't bode well, to be honest with you.
So he's gone from full-time to being sat in an office to part-time.
He was a full-time, top-level Premier League referee.
But let's not skip over the fact, right, that he's essentially been booted out of a place where he can watch a challenge from 17 different angles and still get it wrong.
Yes.
What was the controversy thing that he was caught up in?
I only saw the headlines.
Give it against Liverpool, won't he? And then that's it. Everything will have gone wrong, won't it?
The headline is Tierney will be VAR for the Manchester derby despite huge error, and that was in April. That was literally the end of last season.
What was his huge error?
A huge error in the Merseyside derby. He should have said,
when it's Tarkowski.
Tarkowski, yeah.
The red card that wasn't.
Yeah, so he was the VAR that didn't recommend that the referee go to the screen for Tarkowski, basically assaulting McAllister.
Is that the one that Tarkowski got equaliser as well?
I don't see any problem with that. What's wrong with that?
No, it wasn't. No, this one was Anfield.
I like him all of a sudden.
They won the game anyway. Who cares?
We did. It was a bad decision.
No, great decision.
I'm sorry, any Liverpool fans watching, but I just can't see any Liverpool fans watching this, to be honest with you. But yeah, we won't be getting any penalties then. So to be fair, everyone was moaning that the Bradford scored from a referee mistake. They had to run the full length of the pitch to score. They did, but it was still a terrible decision from that throw-in. And again, the referee on Tuesday night had a stinker because Oldham's first goal came from Oldham kicking the ball out of play and getting a throw-in for it. Just bad. Yeah, it wasn't terrible on Tuesday, but it certainly wasn't great. That's Let's Ref Watch. A few stats for you before you pick. I haven't lost to Northampton since 2012. The early days of Steve Evans was when we last lost to Northampton. Ben Pringle scored a 2-1 defeat at Sixfields back then. So that's all the information I'm going to give you before you give me your score predictions. Right, score predictions. I have forgot to ask anybody else my prediction this week because I've been busy. What I'm going to do instead is pick somebody from the comments. So if people in the comments get your predictions in, I'm going to steal one of your predictions because...
Everybody put 6-0 to Northampton quickly.
I'll take it. Yeah. I'll take it. So nobody last week got full points. That's not true. Joy picked up full points against Bradford. So she'll shoot at the table that I haven't updated. So Joy, you were the kind of the winner last week. So what do you reckon? Northampton away, don't concede many, but don't score many, and we've suddenly hit a run of form. What do you reckon?
I love going to Northampton. I really enjoy that as an away day because of the malt shovel and what have you. And I always remember the best team goal I ever saw was at Northampton when we were all sat in that blizzard. Do you remember? It started in the corner, didn't it? And it went right through. One of the best team goals we've ever scored. I'm feeling positive. I'm going to go. We're never going to keep a clean sheet, so that's one.
True.
2-1 to us.
2-1 to us. Like your positivity. Mick, last time I did the league table, you were rock bottom.
Yeah.
And since then, you haven't picked up any points. So I assume you're still
I'm going up, getting promoted, and then coming down with an absolute bang.
Okay, you're disgracing the belt.
Absolutely, yeah. It don't fit. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to stay positive, and I'm going to say that we are going to keep a clean sheet. I don't know why I think that.
That is weird.
Anyway, 2-0.
2-0 to the Millers. Danny?
I'm going to be slightly less positive than Mick, but slightly more positive than Joy because I think we will keep a clean sheet. I don't know how, I don't know why, but we will keep a clean sheet. And I reckon Sheriff's going to score, so I think we'll win 1-0.
Oh, I'd take that big time. The only thing that'd be better than that is a Nombe 89th minute win off his backside, which I'm sure we're still
again.
So I'd take a Sheriff winner. We have predictions of 2-0 from IFC RMOF. Terry Fleming says 2-1 to the Millers. Tom Swift says 1-0 to to Northampton. Rob Dixon with the same. Harry with the same. Kiwi saying 2-0 to the Millers. Neilish is saying 1-2. Paul Ruby saying 1-1. Scott Kent going 2-1 to the Cobblers. I'm going to steal Harry's, Rob's, and Tom's and go 1-0 defeat, just tactically. You're all going positive, so if Northampton pick up a win, I'll pick up some points on that one. So I'll put your names down so we get if it wins, they get some credit from that one. So you guys on there, I'll get everybody else's prediction. I'll update a table when I have 5 minutes over the next couple of years. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about over the next? Well, I suppose however long you want, really. But is there anything else you want to mention?
Yeah, I think we've done it, haven't we?
I think so. I will keep mentioning it until we hit 2,000. We're creeping up as you'd expect. Still less than 90 people, subscribers, away from hitting the next milestone. Landmark. So if you want more nonsense words that don't exist like those ones, please make sure you subscribe because we are very, very good at those ones. If you haven't done so already, when this finishes, go over, check the scouting report out because that'll give you more information than I've given you on Northampton, Kevin Nolan, and everything else that comes along with the Cobblers. We will then be back on Saturday evening for the instant reaction. Watch out for that sometime on Saturday evening. And then we'll be back on Sunday evening, as always, for the full review of the Northampton game. And look ahead to a free week next week, which is always nice. Like, subscribe. If you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, you can also follow, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, whatever it allows you to do so. Also, if you think we're rubbish, feel free to tell us we're rubbish. We know how bad we are. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
We are the most professional, unprofessional podcast.
Correct. We embrace how bad we are. We're okay with it. Don't worry about it. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Joy. Mick, it's probably time for you to go to bed.
Yes.
Scott Kent rightly points out, it's on telly, everybody. So if you don't go to Northampton, if you're not one of the brave souls go to Northampton, you can watch it on Sky Sports Plus. Also remember, it's stupidly a 2 o'clock kickoff. There is a reason for it, which I can't remember.
It's what?
It's a 2 o'clock kickoff.
What?
It's some event happening in Northampton in the evening or something, so they moved it forward an hour. Something to do with that.
What events do Northampton have? Northampton's like Rotherham. We don't have events.
Harry RUFC is the rugby.
Rugby, innit? Yeah.
Oh, that's not an event, is it? Egg chasers.
Well, it's a thing. It's a thing. Oh, before we go, did you have any Swedish chocolate, Mexican chocolate while you were away?
No. I tell you what I did have.
Oh.
It was. I had a steak, right? And it was like a Sunday joint. It was unbelievable. Anyway, that's it. That's all I've got. But it was nice.
Okay.
And it was dead cheap as well. About 20 quid it cost, and it was literally like a Sunday joint. It was amazing.
Oh, I feel hungry.
Anyway, no chocolate though.
Okay, that's terrible.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. The rugby kicks off again. We are going to end this show at some point. But as Scott Kemp put in the comments, the rugby kicks off at 3:05. So how does that impact the football?
So everyone's in the football stadium before the rugby kicks off, so they're crowd control bollocks. I don't know.
Anyway, Mexican beer, Mick?
No, didn't have a beer while we were there at all. Not drunk all week.
What? Are you feeling all right?
No, that's why I need to go, because I need I need to get a beer. Sorry, I've no stories really. I've no food or drink stories at all.
Well, that's disappointing.
Tell you about American football and volcanoes if you want, but other than that,
are the two connected together or separate?
No, they're separate. Obviously.
Okay. Well, maybe say the volcano story. I am trying to wrap up this show.
Right, that's fine. You asked me.
I know. Just stuff keeps coming into my head. If anybody wants a volcano story from Mick, let us know because he'll tell that story on Sunday.
You don't know.
It's probably a terrible story, as we all know with Mick by now. So, but thank you for your effort for going tonight when you're very still jet lagged. I've said everything I need to say, so thank you all for watching. We will see you all next time, and as always, up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Comes for more. 2 for Jensen. 2
Richard Wood has